Dear student, welcome to this special lecture, and I am very much honored to deliver this special lecture. I say this with my former capacity as Ambassador at Large for Human Rights, Republic of Korea, as well as a distinguished professor of Ewha Women's University. I have chosen today's subject on toward the peace settlement on Korean Peninsula and building community for peace in Northeast Asia. Today, we have to reflect ourselves on peace/justice. I am using the terminology of peace always with justice, because peace without justice could be an instrument to pressurize to powerless people. Justice without peace could be interpreted minimizing or limit the freedom and the liberty. So I would invite my student, whenever you are using terminology peace, you can think always with the justice should go together. Peace or justice can be only accomplished by the human being. We have to try to make a peace and justice by ourselves. The person or human being who are trying to accomplish the peace, we say peacemaker. The person who is trying to promote human rights, we say human rights defender. Their work and their endeavor, in total, we are calling advocacy work. When we are talking this advocacy, for instance, a famous scholar, Johan Galtung, from Norway, who has visited recently to Ewha campus, delivered his lecture on peace at Korean Peninsula. He said the advocates workers should say no to all forms of violence. And he has categorized 3 types of violence. First, direct violence. For instance, attack physically to others. Second, structural violence. Any political power is oppressing to the powerless people. That we say structural violence. Third category, he has identified cultural violence. Some supernation's culture can be easily ignore or minimize the uniqueness of minor culture. Another example, Professor Lechler emphasized sustainable peace and conflict resolution, always. And then in Hague agenda for peace and human rights in 21st century. In Hague Agenda, they have identified 50 items. I cannot go in this time all these 50 items, but some items I could mention: the educate, peace, democracy, and human rights. The second thing would be the eradicate colonialism and neo-colonialism. Third, they have said eliminate racial, ethnic, and religious and gender intolerance, and promote gender justice, etc., etc. Within that reflections, within that theories which I have above mentioned, at Ewha University, where I am coordinating Center for Peace Studies, has identified the 5 different pillars as an area of our research. We are starting first pillar here, and a human being, starting with the human being from individual person. Here I say the human security, it is very much important, and eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, liberated from all the disease, HIV positive, or even malaria and other disease. And also no illiteracy, educated situation. That we are all calling human security. Research for that human security is a first pillar. Second pillar is family and society. If there is polarization among the communities within one society or within one country, it is not advisable. For instance, there is an inequality between a man and woman that is also not advisable. Or if there is any minority group, they feel they are ignored from the mainstream. That is not ideal situation. Therefore, the area of polarization and inclusive society where men and women are equally participated, or each minority group should feel they are real important part of total society. For instance, any group with a disability, they feel there are so many obstacles for their free movement in the society. Then society itself, it is not healthy one. So that is a kind of a second area of our research of Ewha Peace Institute. Third, it's a peace in relationship to environment. We are calling to keep integrity of creation. Life concern and environmental integrity, ecology, that area is third pillar. Fourth one is nation and region. Therefore, today, I said, building a peace community for Northeast Asia. It is kind of a concern today I would like to focus on. That is a fourth pillar. The last one is world. Of course, our student, you know always, the world without nuclear threat and war. It's a kind of a peaceful situation, but the reality is different. So we have to study hard and propose all the alternative models. We say the Ewha Center for Peace Studies, we cannot cover all these 5 pillars. For the time being, we are concentrating on second pillar, the family and society, and the fourth pillar, nation and region. Let us come to the human rights. The human rights is equally important whenever we are talking peace, because peace, justice, human rights should go always together. It is kind of either side of coins. Let us touch a little bit about the brief history of human rights in our history. The 1215, when the Magna Carta was known, we are saying this is the initial event of human rights promotion. Then after around 400 years later, 1628, that's a petition of right during a King Stuart time, and many knights and the royal families and the intellectuals, they have gathered together to make an official, collectively appeal to the absolute powerful king by saying, and this current year, the harvest became very short. Therefore, taxation by the king should be a little bit reduced. That kind of appeal has been made officially. That is year 1628, where the petition of right is known. That is the second effort. Third effort is 1688, when the Declaration of Right during King John, and there has been a mutual negotiation has been made between the absolute king's power and his knight and royal family's collective appeal. And in 1689, we are calling also Royal Revolution. That means without any conflict of blood, the two powers, they got together. So we are calling in United Kingdom, first time, the kind of a parliamentary system has been established. 1776, July 4, it is Declaration of United States Independence, where the right for happiness has been known to us. And then 1789, and the French Revolution has come, where the 17 modern items of human rights declared. Then the world has been experienced in a human tragedy during World War I and World War II. During World War I, and 5 million casualties. During World War II, and 55 innocent people as casualties recorded. That human tragedy made all people alerted to think the world without conflict, the world without war. Therefore, 1945, June, the first time United Nations has been established. later, 3 years later, 1948, December 10. It is written here, December 12. That should be December 10. Universal Declaration of Human Rights known. But students, when you are coming to this Universal Declaration of Human Rights, there is a preamble with a 30th article. When you are coming in detail, and Article 2 up to Article 21 is something to do freedom that we are calling International Covenant on Civil and Political Right. At the United Nations level, we are calling that B Treaty, AP, B Treaty. Further, when you are coming Article 22 up to 29, that is something to do the life of a human being. We are calling International Covenant on Economic, Social, Cultural Life. That at United Nations level, that we are calling A Treaty. The A and B Treaty, that time, 1948, everybody think, as far as the human rights is concerned, these two covenants would enough. But in reality, in 21st century, there's a new area of human rights have come to our attention. The first one is a right of environment, with the name of economic growth. The human being has destroyed many our environmental beauty. So we are experiencing, for instance, all of a sudden, flood has come. All of a sudden, high temperature, even in winter time, has come. That is, global warming, the result of global warming, because the human being has destroyed a lot of our integrity of creation. So, 21st century, rights of environment became very important. Then, second new area of human rights has come, so-called right of peace. In fact, this has been made 1984, November 14, when the United Nations has celebrated their 40th anniversary. That time they said, a declaration on the right of the people to peace. That we are calling right of peace. This new area became so important after Iraqi war. Iraqi war is still uncertain. The original objective has been to find out destructive weapons. The second, to introduce genuine democratization against Saddam Hussein's dictatorship. But after 9 years, neither of these has come. Neither of these has been succeeded. Therefore, many people is questioning what is the purpose of Iraqi war. Since the result of Iraqi war has been questioned by a lot of people, the right of peace as a new area of human rights became very important. The third new area of human rights is a right of development, globalization tendency. When this globalization has started, everybody has hoped the earth became one family. There will be no huge gap between rich and poor people. But against our expectation, nowadays, the few nations possess majority of richness, and many people, they are left over. They feel they do not have enough in comparison with other groups. So that polarization tendency, and rich getting richer and poorer getting poorer. Therefore, the right of development has come. Especially developing countries and many poor countries, they have gathered together at the United Nations level. They claim development, right of development. When we are coming in reality in the world, especially at the United Nations level, whenever we are meeting together, there is a huge difference interpretation, especially between A Treaty and the B Treaty. A Treaty has been welcomed by the socialist country and developing country, while as the B Treaty, which is a civil and political right, are always very much emphasized by the Western advanced or developed countries. How we can reconcile of this different interpretation? Therefore, 1993, June, the United Nations Human Rights that time Commission has called World Convocation of Human Rights in Vienna, Austria. And then they made recommendation out of this World Convocation to the whole member state of the United Nations. Between A and B Treaty, interrelatedness is very much recorded. And interdependence, A and B Treaty, is interdependent. It is inseparable. Therefore, it should be incorporated and comprehensively developed. We all know human rights should be developed peacefully, constructively, transparent way, so that concerned, willingly motivated for their own promotion of their own human rights. In my Center for Peace Studies, therefore, we made again 5 pillars of human rights in 21st century. One is the A Treaty, the middle, we can say B Treaty, and then a declaration of the right of the people to peace, as I have said, a right of peace, and a right of development. And this is the right of environment. So students, when you are talking on human rights, you have to bear in your mind there are 5 areas of human rights in 21st century. Let us come to our situation. Having said these various theories and the reflections which are recorded and known, and the various recommendations by the United Nations, we have to come to our nation, to our region. Before Korea will be spoken as a frame of reference, let us think a little bit on the German cases. Germany and Korea, immediately after World War II, two divided nations, German and Korea. Germans, they committed to break World War II. Therefore, their division of Germany could be regarded as a natural result. But our country, Korea, we never engaged to any world crime. Nonetheless, our nation is divided, unfortunately. Let us come to the German case again. 1945, like our case, the division of a nation. 1970, in German, Ostpolitik by Willy Brandt has been declared. When the German Chancellor Willy Brandt declared Ostpolitik, it was not welcome, especially by the France and the United Kingdom. They said if two Germans, they are reconciled, then they will get united, and then eventually World War III could be broken. Therefore, they made certain reservations. That time, and the Bundeskanzler Willy Brandt has said their reconciliation will be implemented within a framework of that time Eastern Bloc and Western Bloc of Europe. Therefore, finally, two countries, France and the United Kingdom, they said yes, Ostpolitik. So when the Ostpolitik has been implemented, and then Willy Brandt, as a West German Chancellor, he has visited to Erfurt. It was 1970 March. As an answer of the Willy Brandt's, Erfurt summit, and that time, East German Chancellor Willy Stopp, he has visited to the Kassel, West Germany, and then these two times of summit meeting made possible to make Grundvertrag in German, in English, a basic treaty. And then 3 years later, these two Germans, East and West, they could make within a Helsinki process, within a framework of Helsinki process, with the full blessings of 31 Europe, including USA, Canada, and Soviet Union at that time, they made non-aggression act. That we say peace treaty. And then 1990, German unification. After 45 years long division, they get united. And this year, October 3, they celebrated 20th anniversary of their unification. 2010 in October, they made some official evaluation after 20 years long unified German experiences. They said, we Germans regret followings. That could be a very interesting lesson for us. Therefore, I say this. First, they said, still they are missing sufficient mutual trust building process. They said it would have been better to have a various program of mutual trust. The second thing is, immediately after unification, between East German Mark and West German Mark, they have exchanged 1-to-1. And immediately after unification, the wage of former Eastern workers has been paid 80% in compare with West workers. Therefore, they say 400% of impression unexpectedly came to them. Number 4 is 70% of East infrastructure are calculated, could be succeeded, could be reused. But in reality, only 17% used. That is their miscalculation. Number 5, missing the guidance of self-standing system. Or they didn't develop very concrete programs of East German self-standing technology. That is very interesting, 5 items. And then the another thing which we can bring, of course, we can bring this also to our program, but especially these following 3 are very much important. One is no policy change by regime change in German case. 1945, Germans were divided, in 4, that time. Up to now, 20 years after unification, there is no changes at all. It has been sustainable continuity. That is very much important. Our case is not. Our case is regime change and then North and South policy changes, which is totally different from German experiences. The second one is, together, always they have implemented their policy together, ruling and opposition parties together. In Korea, there's no cooperation between ruling and opposition in making a strategy, in making an implementation process. There is a huge differences between the German experience and Korean experience. Thirdly, the Germans could get a huge benefit from the Helsinki process. Of course, this Helsinki process cannot be adopted easily with the same contents to Korean cases, but some kind of spirit could be implemented to us.